Twisted Terrors, now your host, Zomboy.
What is going on, horror fanatics? Zomboy here. You're watching another episode of Twisted Terrors. On this episode, we're going to be talking about 2007's Trick or Treat. This movie's directed by Michael Dougherty. It's rated R. IMDb has this one rated as a 6.7 out of 10. Letterboxd has this rated as a 3.4 out of 5. I'll read the plot. 4 interwoven stories that occur on Halloween. An everyday high school principal has a secret life as a serial killer. A college virgin might have just met the one guy for her. A group of teenagers pull a mean prank, and a bitter old recluse receives an uninvited guest. The tagline on this one is, poison, drowning, claw, or knife, so many ways to take a life. So let's talk about the movie. So the movie starts off with a couple on Halloween night. They're dressed up. They're coming home from a party. The girl seems very embarrassed. Their yard is so decorated. The guy wants to go inside, spend some time together. She wants to tear down all the Halloween decorations. She starts to blow out the jack-o'-lantern, and the guy tells her there's rules to Halloween and she should probably leave it lit.
Wait, not yet.
What?
You're supposed to keep it lit.
Why?
Ancient tradition?
Henry, it's Halloween, not Hanukkah. Baby, I'm lit, and you're lit.
Honey,
Your little friend here, this night's over.
And she calls him childish and blows it out anyways. He ends up going in the house and falling asleep while she's outside, starting to box up all the Halloween decorations because her parents are coming in the morning and they don't want them to see the mess. She ends up getting attacked by an unknown force as she's covered with a sheet that was a ghost in the yard. She's trying to get out of the sheet, and then some kids see her rolling around in the sheet, and then all of a sudden it gets covered in blood. Kids go running, and something you don't see drags her into the yard. The husband wakes up and is looking for his wife and goes outside. He's looking around, and he ends up pulling the sheet off of one of his decorations, where he finds his deceased wife all cut up, strapped to this giant cross with a giant lollipop jammed in her mouth. So that's the end of that segment. It's just kind of a introduction to the movie. The next one is this punk kid on Halloween night. He's dragging this big bag full of candy. He's trick-or-treating without a costume, and he's knocking everyone's pumpkins over and being a little hellion. He ends up walking to a house that has a pumpkin on the porch with a note that says to please take one candy, as he empties the entire thing into his bag.
That can't be good for your diabetes, Charlie.
The homeowner comes home from buying more candy at the store and catches him, asks him to sit down so they can talk.
Don't waste a good lie on this. It's just candy. Guess it's a good thing I got more. Now just sit down.
And he tells him it's fine, it's Halloween night, but he needs to learn how to respect the dead. Charlie is stuffing his face full of candy and chocolate, and the man, Mr. Wilkins, is talking to him, and the kid starts to cough, and his stomach starts to make all this noise.
I didn't do such a good job, did I? What do you think? Hey.
Okay? Need a root beer?
Wait. That's right. There's another tradition. Very important.
Always check your candy.
And he starts puking all this brown sludge out all over the place, over and over again, until he ends up falling over. And Mr. Wilkins drags him into the house. There's a knock on the door, and he realizes there's some kids trick-or-treating at his door, so he has to put Charlie down. He goes to answer the door, and his shirt's all gross, and you'll find out from the kids trick-or-treating that he is the principal of their school, Mr. Wilkins.
Great costume, Mr. Wilkins.
Boy, all right, Candy.
Thanks.
Principal Wilkins, do you think that we might be able to have your jack-o'-lantern, please?
Not gonna smash it, are you?
He ends up going back in the house, dragging Charlie into the backyard, where he's got a giant grave already dug in the middle of his backyard. He drags Charlie into the hole where you see there's a second kid in there as well. And Mr. Wilkins' son opens one of the windows upstairs and starts yelling at his dad while his dad's trying to dispose of his body. And
Daddy! I'm back from trick-or-treating!
Billy, shh, please be quiet,
Why?
because you'll bother the neighbors. Now go watch Charlie Brown, and I'll be in a minute.
telling him he wants to go do this and go do that. The dad's just trying to get him to shut up and go back in the house. Finally, the kid goes back in, and the neighbor's dog starts barking at him through the fence. So he ends up using the shovel to cut one of Charlie's fingers off and throws it to the dog. But then the owner of the dog comes out and sees Mr. Wilkins in his hole, and he tells him he's having septic tank problems. And the guy says, "Oh, that why it smells so bad?" And apparently those two don't get along because the neighbor's not very nice to him.
Get your kid out of my yard! Damn freak.
Happy Halloween.
Screw you!
And at this point, the second child starts to wake up, and Mr. Wilkins is kicking him in the face, trying to shut him up until he can finally hit him with the shovel. Finally, the neighbor goes in the house. He finishes up, buries the kids in the backyard, plants a tree on top of them. And as he's going in the house, he looks over, and his neighbor is pounding on a window, crying out for help. And Mr. Wilkins ignores it, going back in the house. He goes inside where his son is, and his son wants to go carve a pumpkin. The dad grabs a big butcher knife and takes him down to the basement. He's got one hand on his shoulder, and the kid tells him he wants to carve a scary pumpkin, and Mr. Wilkins is pulling the knife up, and the next thing you know, he jabs it down and pulls it back up, and it's covered in blood. But as it pans down, you realize it's Charlie's head on the table, and that's what they're gonna carve. And the son wants to make a scary carving out of Charlie's head. So that's the end of that one. Nice little twist there. You really make it think like he's gonna kill his son, but really it's just Charlie's head. So the third story in this one, you follow three girls. They're getting costumes ready for Halloween. They're at a Halloween store trying costumes on. Two of them are pretty promiscuous, and the third is not. And so they're trying to get her to go find a guy. And they finally leave to go to a party where two of them end up finding guys right away and leave to the party, leaving the girl in town. And this story also cuts to another girl making out with a guy dressed as a vampire, and then next thing you know, he's biting her and she's bleeding all over the place, and she gets away from him and runs into a parade, but everyone on Halloween night's covered in blood, so no one thinks anything of it until the vampire finally polishes her off. The sister calls her from the party, telling her that she needs to come. There's a guy there that wants to meet her, and so she starts walking to the party, and you quickly realize this vampire guy is following her and ends up confronting her, and he goes to bite her neck, and the girls at the party can hear her scream from the woods. The next thing you know, you see a body hit the ground, falls from the sky, and it's wearing a cloak like the sister had, and so they thought it was her. When they go up, it's the vampire guy, and he's begging for help. One of the girls walks up and is looking at him and ends up taking his mask off, and you recognize him as Mr. Wilkins. He is also a wannabe vampire with fake teeth, but he's out biting women. And then you quickly realize that all the guys are dead, covered in blood, and the girls are the only ones left. And then you realize that they are the predators, not the prey, as the girl that was trying to be bit walks up, and then they transform into werewolves and kill him. The whole party was a ruse just to get guys there so they could eat them. That's a pretty cool one. The next one, you've got a group of kids. They are trick-or-treating and asking people to donate their pumpkins and telling them they're doing a scavenger hunt. They're doing this all night until they meet up with I think they called her a strange, odd girl, who ends up tagging along with them as they're pulling this wagon full of pumpkins out to the old rock quarry, where she tells a story of 30 years ago when there used to be a bus of 8 troubled children that weren't allowed to go to school with the other kids or ride the same bus. So they had to be transported specially. And the parents apparently got sick of these kids and were embarrassed by them. So they asked the bus driver to dispose of them. So this bus driver, instead of taking them home after school, ends up taking them out to the rock quarry. He chains them to their seats, and it looks to be like he's going to drive the bus with all the children over into the water in the quarry, when unfortunately one of the kids gets loose and puts the bus in gear, and the whole bus goes over into the water, killing everyone, which they say including the bus driver. But the bus driver was never found, but the bus was not either. And the pumpkins they collected were 8 pumpkins as offerings to the 8 children that died, and that they need to go put them down by the water. And there's this like elevator that goes down to the water level from the top. So 3 of them go down, leaving 2 up top.
It can only hold 3. Safely. I'll send the keys back up. You guys bring the rest.
Okay.
They wait for the elevator to come back. Get in and go back down. They hear all this screaming and they think their friends are being attacked. And when the odd girl goes to check on them, she finds a bunch of zombies coming out of the water trying to attack her. She drops her glasses and can't see. Ends up, the whole thing was a joke just to get this odd girl out there and to scare the heck out of her, which worked. She is frightened beyond all belief and she now can't see. And all of them are laughing at her, besides one boy that's telling them they've gone too far and that she's scared. So they agree to go collect all their stuff and get out of there. 3 of them go to collect all their stuff and end up hearing a bunch of children's voices and laughing. The boy that stayed behind with the odd girl ends up going to check on them, and come to find out, they start getting attacked by the zombies or spirits of the children from the bus. When they go to run to the elevator, the odd girl's inside the elevator with the gate shut, and they're all begging for her to let them in.
Open the gate!
No! Wanda, look at me!
What are you doing?
It's not a trick, it's real!
Where's she going? Wanda!
She finally just hits the button and goes up, as you can hear these children screaming down below as they're being ripped to pieces by these zombie spirit children. That's the End of that one. And she also sees a character named Sam, which is this burlap bag mask wearing character, which I'll talk about a little bit more. She sees him. The last one is 3 children also trick-or-treating on Halloween night. They go up to a house to get some candy, and the house owner ends up scaring the heck out of them, causing them to drop their candy and run. He picks up their candy and goes in the house, and you find out this guy doesn't like children. He stole their candy. He goes in the house, starts to eat their candy until he starts hearing some noises outside. He goes outside and ends up finding that the noises are his neighbor, Mr. Wilkinson, in his backyard in a hole. Then you find out that's where these 2 stories intertwine. He is the moody neighbor from next door. So he finally goes back in the house and he finds his dog barking at the front door. When he goes and opens the front door, he has an entire yard full of jack-o'-lanterns that are carved and lit that were not there before. So where these came from, he doesn't know. The dog starts to bark again, but runs upstairs. So the man thinks someone's in his house and goes and retrieves his double-barrel shotgun and heads upstairs to see what's going on. Man goes into his bedroom and finds his sheets are moving. And when he opens his sheets, he finds a animatronic hand moving in his bed, and a pumpkin in the background catches on fire, lighting up the room, and finding out the walls are covered in writing that says, "Trick or treat, give me something good to eat," in blood all over the walls and ceiling. Then the man gets stabbed in the leg by someone underneath the bed. After he gets stabbed in the leg, Sam pops out, which is this pajama-wearing child with a burlap bag on his hand, and he's got a candy bar half unwrapped with a giant razor blade sticking out of it as a weapon. Sam goes and he bites him in the leg, and the man grabs his gun, shooting Sam in the face. And then he ends up shooting him in the chest, and all these pumpkin guts are coming out of the body. He pulls his mask off, and he's this demon-looking pumpkin head underneath. The man ends up calling 911, but as he's trying to tell dispatch what's going on, his phone goes dead. And then he's stabbed by Sam's hand with his blade, but it's not attached to his body anymore. So after Sam puts his hand back on, he ends up pulling out a giant sucker. He takes a bite out of the sucker and then stabs the old man with it like a knife. And then on Sam's way out, you realize by looking at some pictures in the house that he was the old man was the bus driver that was trying to kill the kids. He was never found because he ended up living. You hear knocking on the old man's door, and the door opens up, and the old man's still alive, but he's all wrapped up, cut up, and now he's handing out candy like a good person does on Halloween. And he looks out on the other side of the road, and Sam's watching him. And then in the background, you see 2 people coming home from a party, and the girl tries to blow out a pumpkin, and the guy tells her he shouldn't, and she does anyways. And it's the 2 people from the beginning of the movie, and Sam starts heading over there, and that is the end of the movie. This is a very fun movie, especially Halloween time. This movie has serious Halloween vibes from beginning to end. Since all the stories take place on Halloween, it's always trick-or-treaters, candy. The Sam character is awesome. Sam is a burlap sack wearing trick-or-treater who's actually a pumpkin-headed demon that enforces Halloween traditions. And I think that's awesome. So what he does is he travels around, and if you're breaking Halloween traditions, he's gonna fix it to where you do. The stories are really fun. Some are very short. You know, the very first one with the partiers coming home and she dies. You know, there's no character build up, so you really don't care who dies. And a couple of them are like that, where they're just super short stories. There's a couple that are a little bit longer than others, but they're fun because this movie is always mixing it up and they're always intertwining. So I think the Mr. Wilkins one, where he's poisoned the candy. The kid starts throwing up. I think that's my favorite one just because it's got some good horror. It's got some good gore. It's a little funny. It's got some humor when the kid's puking all over, and then also when he's trying to bury his body, but everyone keeps on interrupting him. That one, the humor works. I find myself laughing at that one, even though I've seen this movie many times before. It's just a fun one. The school bus zombie children, I have that one ranked as my second favorite one. It's just neat. It's a good revenge story, much like Carrie, the girl that gets picked on, and then the popular mean kids end up befriending her only to embarrass her and scare her. Therefore, she ends up getting her revenge in the end. That one is really neat. The Werewolf Party, I have that one rated as number 3 for me. It's very short. There's a lot to that one, but it does throw you for your loop because you do think the girls are going to be the victims here, and then they end up being werewolves, which I actually, the first time I watched this one, I thought the guy was pretending to be a vampire and they were going to be real vampires and show them what it's like to be bit. But the whole werewolf thing, I didn't see that coming. And it's a really cool scene where they tear their own skin off and they're werewolves underneath. And the practical effects in that are really good, and it's pretty gory. I like that one a lot. Number 4, I've got the Bus Driver versus Sam, the last one. That one's neat just because Sam's in that one more than any of the others, and I really enjoy Sam. He's a cool character. He looks neat. He's vicious. It's just a lot of fun. I like that one a lot. And then the very first one of the movie where the girl is strapped to the cross with the sucker in her mouth, I rank that one number 5, only because it's only a couple minutes long. It's super short. The girl is awful. You know, this guy loves Halloween, and she's just raining on his parade that it was boring to go out. She doesn't like dressing up. The yard looks awful. She's embarrassed to have her parents there because of it. And the guy is just wanting to have fun. So I'm like, she died. Oh well. So I've got that one ranked last for me. But Quinn Lord, that played Sam in this one, he appears out of costume in this movie. In the ones where the girls are getting ready for the party, in the beginning where they're trying their costumes on, there's a little boy peeping in from outside watching them change, and that is the boy that played Sam in this movie. This movie didn't get a theatrical release at all. It was direct to movie, and it has a massive fan base. And for a character that's only been in one movie, the Sam, he really took off. You know, it's amazing to me that you find his characters, his toys all over the place. He's been in one movie, so people really like that. And talking about that they greenlit a sequel for this that the same director is going to be doing. So I really hope that is true. That would be a lot of fun. The things I didn't care much about, I wish there was a little bit more character development and details in some of the short ones, but I mean, I kind of understand that they were shorts, therefore you really can't do that. So I felt like they were a little rushed. Everything really works in this movie. Like I said, especially during Halloween time, this one's a lot of fun to put on in the background, even at a party. But it's fun. The vibes are neat. Their characters are neat. And I highly recommend this one. It's a lot of fun. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Hopefully you have. Otherwise, I just ruined everything for you. But this is Zomboy saying thanks for watching. I will see you on the next one.